Another year has come by, so it's time for another list. And right off the bat, I'll say that the best thing that I saw this year was Bob Burnham's Inside. Bo is a freaking genius in his own league. If you still didn't catch that, you totally should. It's on Netflix. But Inside is not a stand-up comedy special. Stand-up comedy requires live audience, and talking to live audience is what you will find on this list. So, without further ado, I present to you top 10 best stand-up comedy specials of 2021. My name is Krzysztof Sawczuk, and this is Stand-Up Teka.
You know the seven, don't you?
Who are these people?
The world is like a ride.
Oh, it's brutal!
Number 10. Michael Che, Shame the Devil. Opening bit consisting almost exclusively of dick jokes? That's my jam, especially if it's followed by a great vaccine bit. Then we will have quite a lot of political stuff, still top quality. Everything delivered in very calm, storying pace, sitting on the stool, and with great confidence. There will be a little bit of pandering, Che even called himself on that, but as soon as we wander into the important stuff territory, Michael will cut it immediately with some great sharp joke. Like I've said, everything here is very relaxed, almost to a fault, because in the second half we will lose tempo almost completely. But still, another quality special from Mr. Michael Che. Number 9. Dave Chappelle, The Closer. What can I say about this special that wasn't already said or written? Probably not much. And yes, there are whole pieces without jokes here, more important than funny. And yes, Dave is pleasuring himself with an audience at some points, and everybody is cheering and applauding. But the jokes that are here are simply great, and quite fearless. And I'm sure that you have already watched The Closer, but if not, do yourself a favor and put it on. It's a piece of modern stand-up history. Number 8. Rosebud Baker, Whiskey Fist. Where the hell did she came from? This marks the start of a pattern that will be prominent on this list. Comedians that I didn't hear about before 2021. A combination of, let's say, feminist type of humor and rape jokes in one special? That's right, give me more. Don't let quite slow start of this special fool you. The further we go, the better it gets. Lots of the darkest jokes and topics you can imagine. Domestic violence, death in the family, addiction, just to name a few. Additionally, a little bit of politics, white straight male this and that, plus unobtrusive COVID bit. What about The Closer, you ask? Well, it's pedophilia, of course. And if this description didn't convince you to watch Whiskey Fist, then the whole chunk about rape probably won't do the trick either. Chunk that shines like a jewel in the crown here. 100 points to Rose for that. But I'm afraid that some negative points are also in order, because of selling meme from the stage and even waiting for applause after it. In conclusion, Rose is one of my biggest discoveries this year. Take Whitney Cummings, analyze us and shove it. This one right here, she's the real deal. Number 7. Louis C.K. Sorry. At first, I didn't like this special very much. It seemed to me like a collection of tags for bits from other Louis outings. But can you blame a guy for doing so much great comedy in the past? No, not really. For example, a bit about pedophilia from this special. If any other comedian would make it, I will be delighted. It's hilarious and bold as fuck. But here, I'm complaining that Louis did similar stuff in SNL in the past. And that's just plain stupid on my part. Because if you are looking at Sorry as just an hour of comedy, the level of quality here is super high. That pedo bit that we just talked about is the quintessential CK. Extremely dark subject matter, an even darker solution to a problem, and everything that showered with jokes and laughter. Or take a look at the closing bit. Louis is almost baiting us into being triggered and offended, but the message of this whole chunk turns out to be quite humanitarian and emphatic. I always set the bar extremely high for Louis, like for no one else, and he always manages to reach it. Nothing changed in that regard on Sorry. Number 6. Rory Scovel, Life Without Fear. I must be honest, normally if somebody would tell me of that concept for a special, I wouldn't be happy. 6 fully improvised sets compiled into 1 hour, plus a documentary about a venue. Blah. But this is Rory motherfucking Scovel that we are talking about here, and it works like a charm. Lots of outlandish associations, being silly and goofy, and on the other hand, bunch of interesting insights into the mind of stand-up comedian. Why he does what he does on stage, what is just simple and easy, what stems from fear, and what comes from confidence and being loose. Great stuff. And as a bonus, a mini doc on the beautiful Relapse Theater in Atlanta, and one guy that keeps it alive. Everything shot beautifully and edited masterfully. Nothing drags for too long, you won't be bored even for a minute. This special shows once again that you can make great stuff from everything, as long as you know what you are doing. And Rory knows, even when he doesn't. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube, I will leave a link in the description. Number 5. Tony Hinchcliffe making friends. And now something that even an author wouldn't call a special. It's a very raw recording that was meant to stay in his private collection, but I'm glad that he decided to publish it, cause it's super fresh. And nowhere else will you see comedian walking out like 10 people, no less in 2 batches. The whole almost 20 minutes part with the conflict between Tony and part of the audience is pure magic and shows some real skill on Tony's part because the rest of the crowd is still with him. But that's not the only great part here. In terms of edgy, over-the-top, vulgar and brutal stuff, Hinchcliffe was unbeatable this year, it's not even close. No boundaries here, so if you subscribe to the rule that comedy should not hurt anyone, you will have a problem. Here, everyone is hurt, no ass will live unkicked. And on top of that, you have calling out other comedians from stage, by name, and lots of supposedly prohibited words. And what's best, it freaking kills. Dear God, Tony positively slays here. But on the other hand, there's a lot of air in his act. He doesn't rush, takes his time. Man, all this from one of the Rogan sidekicks? Who would have thought? Not me. Number 4. Danny Jolles 6 parts. And where the hell did he came from? And how in the name of God Almighty this has only over 30,000 views on YouTube? Danny takes home this year's award for most sneaky comedy special. We start in a very casual, relaxed way, not the most bombastic delivery ever, to put it mildly. And you think to yourself, hey, is this some kind of clean, family-friendly comedy? And suddenly, boom, bit about diversity in porn. And then boom, Dikembe Mutombo story with great punchline. It's sneaky, man. Sneaky and quite woke, but not in a patronizing, preachy way. There will be no applause poses here, because Danny said something oh so important and brave. No, here, ladies and gentlemen, we have jokes. And the same attitude shines through the whole concept, because yeah, we have 6 places, they're all small and obviously connected to the whole lockdown thing, but there will be no jerking off to this fact. No half-hour documentary about hardship of doing comedy in this environment. No, we will just receive quick, simple visual information about the venue, so we won't be confused. But it won't influence the show that much. Because here, and I don't know if I already mentioned it, we have jokes, and that's what's most important. The first half is straight 10 out of 10, one home run after another. Later there will be some weaker parts, but ending is once again really strong. Great stuff. Go and watch it right now, the full special is on YouTube, I'm sure Danny will really appreciate that. Link in the description. Number 3. Ricky Velez, Here's Everything. And another one, this year was all about newcomers, at least newcomers to me. Maybe some of the mentioned comedians put something out in the past, but I wasn't familiar with it. Ricky is yet another young comic that absolutely killed it this year. And that's great. Enough of those old farts. There is new wave coming. Delivery here is like a mix between Hannibal Buress and Aziz Ansari. This combination sounds impossible to pull off, not for Ricky. His stage presence can come across as a tough, streetwise guy, but on the other hand, with lots of anxiety and sheer intelligence. Bit about wit on Dominican Island is truly exceptional. The one about pajamas for grown-ups, also great. And the closer, mwah, delicious. And you can tell that he can read the room with ease. There will be almost no crowd work here, but Ricky will address the audience on many occasions, commenting on the vibe, energy and thoughts of the crowd. and he will do that with accuracy, without forcing anything, which cannot be said about some other comedians. I'm looking at you, Gaffigan. In the year of so many great newcomers, don't miss out on Ricky Velez. Here's Everything is simply fantastic. Number 2. Shane Gillis, live in Austin. Okay, this time I won't ask where he came from, because Shane had his 5 minutes in the media spotlight when he was fired from SNL. But I think that this is his first special. And how freaking fun it is! The most fun thing I watched the whole year, hands down. Shane covers lots of political stuff, but in a very light way, without lecturing anyone. That's the way to do political stand-up. Nobody will try to convince you to change your beliefs here. No, we are here to laugh. So he will give us witty observations and funny joke. Simple as that. In terms of delivery, Shane has his own way that works for him perfectly. He's giggling to himself a lot, but not in the attempt to make jokes funnier. It comes across like he really thinks this stuff is funny. It seems genuine, and trust me, it's contagious as fuck. In no time, you will be smiling and laughing with him. This conversational and laid-back style will make you feel like you are listening to one of your friends. What I'm trying to say is that Shane is really easy to listen to, even when he ventures into more dark stuff, and oh boy, there will be some dark stuff here. Racism, heroin addiction, disability and Special Olympics. But trust me, if you will feel offended by some of those jokes, you are a fucking moron. There's no trace of malicious intentions here, there are just jokes. Great, hilarious jokes. As a side note, look at how this special looks. Not a big room, not many camera angles, not fancy lighting. It shows, once again, that material is king. And side note for a side note, I don't know what is this whole purple bear situation over there, or who designed colors of this room, but I freaking love it. So go watch Live in Austin. It's available on YouTube for free, link in the description. Before we go to the top spot, a couple of other things that I saw and have something to say about them. If I would give out 11th place, it would go to Josh Johnson and his hashtag. I think it's the first post-lockdown special from Comedy Central, and unfortunately it shows. Very small crowd, spread far apart from each other. It really impacts the experience. There are some pearls here, like a bit on Future Prejudice, but there are also some dots, like this parrot thing. But you can tell right away that this guy is the real deal and will only get better with time. Remember his name. Drew Michael is still on his own original road of post-stand-up. Red, blue, green is very dark but also very pretentious. Jokes are amazing. It's just a shame that there are like 4 of them in a whole hour. Everything on the verge of mental breakdown and emotional blackmail. But you can't say that it's not interesting. I totally understand people that are blown away by this special, but I also won't be surprised if somebody will turn it off before the 10-minute mark. Jimmy Carr released a very nice thing, his dark material, but it's still an hour of almost solely one-liners. It's hard to sit through. Dude, it's not a DVD, it's freaking Netflix. Chop it up into 20-minute pieces and put it out as a mini-series. And stop staring to swooping camera, it's creepy as fuck. Previously mentioned Gaffigan improved everything compared to Pale Tourist, but still, it sucks. Why does this thing have 70 minutes runtime? You have material for maybe half an hour. And stop trying to make a catchphrase from the title, it sounds forced and artificial. I think I'm done with Gaffigan. He only reminded me that I would prefer to watch Mulaney instead. Oh, and mark my words, Mo Amer will be a superstar in 3 years tops, cause he's a hack as fuck. From an intro from The Rock, through Planes material that was covered in memes like 15 years ago, to a bit about the word pussy that Trevor Noah wants back. By far the worst special that I've seen in 2021 for fans of Kevin Hart. Okay, and now it's time for number 1, Roy Wood Jr. Imperfect Messenger. For the whole year, YouTube was recommending me bits and pieces from this special, and I never, not even once, clicked on any of them. Cause I thought, hey, this guy is looking like Stanley from The Office, what interesting things he could possibly say to me. And oh boy was I wrong. This special is for everyone who wants Chappelle to write more jokes and less righteous rants. And for those who still miss Patrice O'Neal. For a whole hour I had him in my head. But Roy Wood Jr. is much more than just a guy similar to. Absolutely awesome special. For starters, hilarious, even in more serious and political parts. It's also quite personal, but without spilling emotional guts on stage. Imperfect Messenger is an exhibition of how to do act out with just facial expression, with merely raising an eyebrow, not with running and jumping on stage like a fucking clown. It shows how you can make a callback that isn't telegraphed from a mile away, like in one of the best moments here. It's a complicated issue. Roy will show us how you can dance with an audience without quick camera zoom on the guy in the third row. How you can reference pop culture but not use these references instead of punchlines. How you can do all of this stuff that was done in the past, but how to do it with class. With class, that's my best description of this special. Absolute must watch from this year, first place on my list, stellar recommendation, I will be coming back to it. And that's it, my list of best stand-up comedy special of 2021. Another great year for stand-up comedy, a great year for newcomers, for up-and-coming comedians, great year for independent comedy on YouTube, check out the description for links. Also, let me know if I missed something great this year. Leave your recommendations in the comments below. Or if you disagree with this list. We can talk, baby. And for now, thank you very much for watching. My name is Krzysztof Sawczuk and this was Stand Up Teka.